So now, what did we do yesterday? Did everyone do the assignment? We got some emails,
Yeah.
and were you able to get the output? Abhinav?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Deepika.
Okay. So for today, our agenda will be, we will go ahead and discuss about the classes and objects. This is a very important topic, and it's the building block of everything that you're going to learn from now onwards. Even if you talk about S objects, triggers, etc., we need this classes and objects. So these are the very basics. So let's start with what is a class. First of all, any questions from the last class? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, so let's start with classes. What is a class? Class is nothing but it's a blueprint. Okay, so let's say before you, the best example is before you build a house. Okay, the first, you just don't go to the land and buy the land and start building the house. You never do that, right? You kind of get a blueprint. You kind of take a document, prepare your whole design of your house, and you say, okay, I need 3 bedrooms, I need 3 bathrooms, I need a game room, I need a big backyard, I need a swimming pool. So you define all those things what you need, and then you pick up, okay, I need a master bedroom to be on the first floor, then so and so on. So this time the house is not built yet, right? There is nothing on the land right now, because you just have a kind of a blueprint. You can say it's like a template. It's nothing on the land, nothing is occupying any memory. Similarly, a class is also like that. Okay, a class is nothing but a blueprint of the object. Now, after you have the design ready, you specified how many rooms you need, how many game rooms you need, swimming pools you need, etc., and backyard, etc. So now you've defined. Now you can use this template and you can start building the house, right? And this house will have its own set of stuff. Like you can say, okay, on this design, you can have 2 bedrooms, and this you can have 3 bedrooms, you can have 1 media room, 1 zero media. So you can have their own categories. After you have this design, you specify that, okay, room will be somewhere here. If somebody wants an additional room, okay, they can have their own, each of the house can have their own set of rooms and each of the things. So house is something that will actually occupy the space. Okay, that will actually cover up the space. Nothing, since you have a class, is not going to see that, okay, your objects are done, nothing has been done yet. Class is just going to give you an idea on what the object will have. So objects are nothing but the house, the actual house that get constructed off of that design. That's what we call it as an object. Okay, so for example, very simple example, we'll take, let's say we take an example of a dog. Okay, we create a dog, we create so this Apex is an object-oriented language. Okay, there's a programming language, right? It's a programming language, but there are 2 different types of programming language. One is called as a procedural way of doing things, and the another way is of object-oriented way of doing things. Okay, Java, Apex, etc. Those lie in this category, object-oriented way of doing things. Procedural is like C. C is a procedural language. Okay, procedural language, as the name indicates, is based off of procedures. It focuses on what they can do. Okay, they focus on functions. They focus on procedures. Okay. Object oriented is basically it focus on objects. It takes everything as a real-time object. Let's say if you want employees, okay, that's a real-time object. What will employee have? Employee will have a name, will have an address, will have a designation, etc. So they object oriented, they usually construct things as an object, as a real-time entity, like car. Okay, that's a real-time entity. Dog, that's a real-time entity. Okay, they don't work around the functions. Okay, they more of focus on the objects. So Apex is an object oriented programming language, and the most important aspect of an object oriented programming language is classes and objects. Okay, a class is a template or a blueprint from which you create your objects. So an object is also called as the instance of the class. Okay, this is a word called instance. Okay, what is an object? Object is nothing but the instance of the class. Okay, so let's say you have created a class called dog. To start a class, to define a class, you need to use this keyword called class and then the name of the class. Okay, this is the name, and then you're going to have the curly braces. Now in a class you have two things. Okay, what does dog have? Dog will have a name. Okay, there will be a breed of the dog, right? Let's say dog will have a certain size, it'll have an age. Okay, these are called as the properties. What a dog will have. Dog will have a name, dog has a breed, dog has a size, dog has an age. Those are called as the properties. Now what a dog can do. Dog barks. Okay, dog barks, he eats, okay, he bites. These are the things he does. So these are called as the functions, or we can say as the procedures. Okay, we call them as functions, we call them as methods, etc. Okay, so those are, every object will have what, let's say human being, every human being has two eyes, two ears, one nose. What does he do? He thinks, he walks, he sleeps, he eats, etc. So those are the things a human being does. What are the things a human being has? Those are the properties. What he does is, or those are called as the methods. You can call them as functions. Okay, so class is nothing but a blueprint. An object is the instance of the class. So what do you mean by the instance? Instance means the object of the class. That means that it's the thing that really occupies some space. Okay, we have two things. We have a house and we have a design of the house. Until or unless design is nothing but a class. Okay, actual house that goes ahead and built up on the land, that's what you call an object. With the same design, you can build n number of house. Similarly, with the same class, you can build n number of dog objects. You cannot build cat objects from the dog. Okay, because the class is of dog, you can only build dog objects. Okay, so how you define the class? You use this keyword called class, and then you define the name of the class, and then these flower braces as per, or we can say the curly braces. Okay, and in the dog you will have name. Let's say, so name will be what kind of data type? To store the name of the dog, we will call it as a string data type. So that will store the name of the dog. If you want to store the age of the dog, what will be the data type? Integer will be the data type to store the age of the dog. Okay, now here what does a dog do? Then you can define those methods. Now what is a method? Method is nothing but a set of instructions. Okay, you put together. That's what a method is. A set of instructions that you put together and that you can reuse again and again and again. Okay, let's say let's say you wanted to print these 4 lines. Okay, system.of_debug about your company. Okay, this is the information about company, and you need to print 4 lines. Name of the company, okay, the year the company was from, okay, and there's another statement. Let's say how many employees are there. Okay, these are the 3 statements you need to print it on the header of every page and the footer of every page on every pages. Okay, so one way would be you copy these 3 statements all over the place where you want. Or the second way is you put together this bunch of statements in a method, you name that method, and wherever you need these 3 statements, just call that method. So basically it is the purpose of, they have functions is set of instructions, they give you some output, they take some input, they give you some output. Okay, so it's a set of instructions, and whenever you need to use those instructions, You just need to call that method, or you call it as a function. That is what a function is. Okay. Now I will give you a very simple example on a class. Okay. And what is the method inside of the class. Okay. So now let's say going back to the Salesforce. What we were using. Okay. So now here in this case, we will go back, and so everything that you need to do it from on the developer console. So we went there to the developer console, and here we will, to define a class, we will say file new Apex class. Okay, this is the way to do it. File new Apex class. Now what is the name of the class? There is a naming convention you should use. It's not mandatory, but it's always better to start the name of the class with a capital letter. We'll say okay. Okay. Now here, let's say what a dog has. Dog has Okay, now you see that I've used this public keyword, and there is a public keyword next to these. What are these called? These are called as the access modifiers. Okay, these are called as the access modifiers. There are a bunch of those. There is a public, as the name indicates, public, it's available to public. Private, it's a private one. Global. So there are different kinds of, I'm protected. There are different kinds of access modifiers. We'll talk about what access modifiers is, but for the timing public, you should know that anything you want it to be available outside of this class, okay, available to public, available to everyone, that's when you use this public. Okay, this is public, means it is available to everyone. So let's say Amitabh Bachchan, he's a public personality, right? Everyone knows about him. Rajnikant, he's a public personality, he's a public figure, everyone knows about him. So that's public. It's Deepika, no one knows about it. So that's they're limited to their boundary. That's a private. Okay. No, so that's public, means which is available to everyone. You can call them from outside. Okay. No one, everyone will be able to access them. So that's what the public means. So I have created a class. So in a class, what goes is just what the object will have, what properties the object will have. This will go in the class. Okay. Those are the, what we can call them as, these are just a template. So a dog will have a name, will have an age. Okay. Dog, what does a dog do? He will bark. So I will use the method definition. I'll create a method. Now what is a method? Method has, there will be a name of the method. Okay. There will be these circular braces. Okay, these are circular braces. The name of the method would be there, and the return type of the method would be there. And then if you want to use any access modifiers, those public, private, etc., this is the syntax of declaring a method. Now what is a method? Method is nothing but there are a bunch of instructions put together, and it is important for reusability of the code, and whenever you need that information, you just need to call the particular method. Okay, method has nothing but a set of instructions. Okay, now let's say in a calculator, everyone has used calculator. Now if you want to add two numbers, what you do, you give those two numbers, okay, 4 plus 5, and then it gives you the output. Okay, this is called as the return type. Okay, this is called as the return type. These are the two variables that you pass to the method. So let's say there will be a method called sum. That's the name of the method. It takes two parameters. We can call them as parameters. What is the type of the parameter? There is a type called integer a, let's say, which stores value 4. Then there will be another parameter which will store the second value, is b, the return type of the method. So method has a name. It will take some parameters if it needs to, or can be empty also. Okay, so we can have the name of the method, then you will have these circular braces, and it will return something, the output. Okay, what this method returns. So method has three parts: the name, the return type, and if it takes any parameters. And then you define your method like this. What this method does, let's say it add two numbers. That's what the method does. Okay, it adds two numbers. If the method is returning something integer, the return type will be integer. If the method is returning something a string, then the return type will be string. If the method is returning some boolean value like true or false, then the return type will become boolean. Okay. If the method is returning some number, then the return type will become a number. If method is returning nothing, okay, then the return type will be void. So you need to remember, if a method is giving you back an integer, then so let's say the sum method is giving you the sum of two numbers, so it is returning you what? It is returning you some integer value. So that is what the return type will be, integer. If the method is returning something string, like it's returning you the name of the class or name of the company, etc., that's a string. Okay, so the return type will be string here. If a method is returning you true or false, okay, is it raining or not? That is the answer to that is yes or no. So if it's returning you something like that, the return type is boolean. If it's returning you number, the return type is number. Void means it is not returning you anything. Okay, so this is how you define a method. You will get some issues right now, but just hold on for a minute. Let me explain everything and then we will take questions. Okay, so what I have done here is I have defined a public modifier. Okay, this is called as the access. Public means I want this to be available outside. Okay, in that class I have two variables called name and age. Name is to store the name of the dog, age is to store the age of the dog. And here I'm going to define a method. So what I tell you, method will have a name. Okay, so now name of the method is, let's say, bark. What it'll have, it will have the circular braces, and then a method will also have a return type. Okay, this is how you declare the method, and inside of a method you will have these curly braces. Okay, inside of this method you will have this curly braces. So now in this method I can just say system dot of debug hello, how are you? Okay, this is what I've done. So now I've created a class. You can see that if the name of the class is dog, the file name is also dog.apex. Okay, it has two things, name and age, and it has a method. So right now nothing has happened in the memory. If you want to understand classes and object, memory diagram is most important. This is, let's say, this is the computer's memory. Okay, computer memory is, let's say, bunch of rows and columns. Okay, let's say this is a computer memory. Okay, right now we have just created what? We have just defined a class. And in the class we have said, okay, this is a class called dog. It has a name in it, it has an age in it, and it has a bark method. That's it. Nothing has happened in the memory. Memory is still empty. Now what we're going to do is we will create objects of this class. How to create an object of the class? To create an object of the class, you need to tell which object are you creating. Okay, so we will use an operator called new. This is the way to create a class object, sorry, new. This is the way, new, and the name of the class. Now what is the name of my class? Dog. So I am telling that I want an object of this class. Okay, I want an object of this class. Which class? There might be multiple hundreds and 200s of classes will be there, right? Which class? So you need to tell new of the name of the class and then these circular braces, and that's it. Okay, this is how you declare a particular, you create an object of the class by writing new of dog. Okay, so once this happened, this thing got created in the memory. Okay, new of dog, this thing has got created in the memory. Now this, since we are creating an object of the dog, what will it have? It will have a name. Okay, it will have an age, it will have a bark method. Okay, and then how will I set this? So I need a remote control. Okay, so then I will create a reference to it, dog of D. Okay, so there is a remote control that created for this dog object. Now what is the difference here? This is very important again. Think of like a TV and a remote control. TV is somewhere here, right? You're watching the TV, it's put it on a table, and this is the TV going on. How you control the TV? You don't go to the, every time you don't go there to the change the channel. You have a remote control for the TV. Remote control will have some buttons. Okay, this is a remote control for the TV. Okay, so if you have two TVs, you're going to have another remote control to control this TV. So similarly, we have created an object by saying new of dog, this particular line has created an object for you. This line itself has created an object, but I need to call this, right? I need to control that object. So then we need a remote control to call this object. So now if the TV is of Samsung, you will need a remote control of type Samsung. If a TV is of Sony, you will need a remote control of Sony. So the reference, the remote control is also will be of type dog, and then you can say D. So what D is nothing but it's a remote control which has nothing to do with the memory. It just controls this particular dog object. Okay, this particular dog object. So I'll repeat one more time. When you said something like dog D is equals to new of dog, if you say something like dog D is equals to new of dog, so this line, this line, what it has done in the memory, it has created a dog object for you. Okay, now what our dog has? Dog has a name, it has a age, and it has a bark method. Okay, these are the three things dog has. Now we need to control this dog outside of the memory. So what we have done, we have created a remote control called D. This is the remote control called D. Now what does this D has? D does not have the whole object. Remote control is not the object. Remote control is totally different from the TV. What it has something in him that knows that, okay, this remote is for this TV. Right? If you have two TVs, the remote control knows that, okay, this TV remote is for this TV and this remote is for this TV. So similarly, what does this D has? D has nothing but the memory location of where this dog object is in the memory of the computer. So let's say computer memory is divided into different cell. If you know your programming, if you know computers, if you have studied computers in school, you must have known that, okay, everything in computer occupies some space, and each space location has a memory address. Okay, so in the computer, let's say this particular dog is stored at memory location XX111. You don't need to remember that, but by just saying D is equals to new of dog, this D will have the memory address only. It will not have this whole object. It will know that, okay, where this object is stored in the memory. Now, if you want to set the name of the dog, you will use this reference variable. This is also called as a reference variable. This is also called as a reference variable. You can also call it as a remote control. This is called as a reference variable or a remote control. So to access it, we will say D dot of name is equals to, let's say, tiger. So what it has done, D is what? D is pointing to this name. Okay, D is pointing to this dog. So now we are saying D dot of name. D dot of name means this one is equals to tiger. So the name of this dog is tiger. If you want to access age, you will say D dot of, you will use this operator called dot. D dot of age is equals to 12. Okay, so this age becomes 12 here. Now next thing is then bark method. Now if you want to call the bark method, you will say D dot of bark, and it will call, and then you will say these circular braces, and that's it. Okay, D dot of bark is equals to, what will it do? It will go ahead and call this bark method. Okay, so now there are two things. Never get confused between a reference variable and the object. Object is something which stores in the memory. Reference variable is just a reference, or it is like a remote control which knows where the object is stored in the memory. Let's say you have created another object of this dog class. Okay, so let's say we enter again dog E is equals to new dog. So now what will happen is, now this particular part of the code has created another dog object in the computer memory. Okay, and this part of the code is saying this object is controlled by this remote control. So there is a remote control called E, which will, what will have? It will not have the whole object. Let's say this object is location 10 10 10. Then this particular E will only have 10 10 in it, because it knows that, okay, 10 10 means this object. So now here, if you want to specify the name, see these properties, these are called as the properties of the objects, and each object will have its own set of properties. So this dog will have its own name, and this dog can have its own name, because both of them have their own set of properties. So this E dot of name, let's say the name of this dog is Sumo. This is the name of this dog. So how we will set, you will say e dot of name is equals to Sumo. So what is e? E is pointing to this object. Okay. What is the name of this dog? Sumo. What is the name of this dog? Is Tiger. E dot of age, let's say, is 14. So what age, whose age is 14? This dog's age is 14. Okay. E dot of bark. See, bark method is the same. So this is also going to give you the same output like whatever it is. Okay, so this is a memory diagram of a class and object. What is a class? Class is nothing but the blueprint of an object. Object is from which the class is from which the objects are instantiated. From a class you can create n number of objects. Okay, class will have some properties and some methods defined in it, and you can call how you created object of the class by using a new operator. Okay, now going back to this example, this is what my class is. Okay, right now at this point nothing has happened in the memory. Memory is still empty of the computer. Nothing has happened. Now what we're going to do is I wanted to create some objects of this class. So how will I do it? I will say dog new of dog. So by writing this statement I have already created the dog object in the memory. At this point of time one dog object has been created, but I don't know how to call this dog object or how to control this. So I need a reference to this dog object. So we will create a dog type D1. So this is my reference, my remote control for this dog. Okay, now what is the name of this dog? Let's say Tiger. Okay, what is the age of this dog? Let's say 14. And now I'm going to call, huh? Oh, I got it. Okay, age of this, and then we're going to call the bark method. Okay. So if I wanted to see what is the name of my first of my dog is, how will I do? D1 dot of name, system dot of debug. Okay, so now first of all you need to tell me guys, tell me how many dog objects I have created and how many remote controls I have. Abhinav, take a look at it one more time. Okay, Priyanka. What will be the output of the program?
Deepika,
Yeah.
I have a question. What is this d1.bark? It's a method. I know that. What does it?
So what does it do? Okay. Here it is.
Okay.
Okay. So what will it do? It will say the name. The first will be hi, how are you? The output from this line would be how are you, right? And then, because that's what the definition of the method says. What is the d1 dot name? What is d1 here? d1 is this one. Okay, d1 is the reference to this one. The name would be tiger, so this is going to give you tiger here. Next thing is d1 dot age. This is what will get printed, so this is going to be the age. Next thing you have created a second object, this one, and then you have d2. In this case, the name of the dog would be d2 dot of name would be Scooby, and here it will be age would be what, 13, and what will be this one? The bark method will return you the same thing if you call hi, how are you. Similarly, here will be sumo and 11. Okay, so now let's go ahead and execute this code. So the name of the dog, how are you, tiger, 14, hello, how are you. Same thing. Now in this case, there are 3 objects I've created and there are 3 reference variable. Okay, now tell me what's going to be the output of the output of this, and how many objects I've created and how many reference variable are. Okay, so dot t1. Okay, now how many dog objects and how many reference variable I have created? What's the memory diagram look like? How many dog objects? How many dog objects and how many reference variable?
Objects are 3.
Okay.
And reference is 1, dog 1.
Okay. So is the reference is going to have all 3 objects addresses?
I think it like no, one address, like dog 1 first takes tiger and next dog lion and next deer, I guess.
Okay, what about others?
Because he gave
Abhinav and Priyanka? Okay, Priyanka, why you think 2 objects and 3 references? Which line creates an object?
dog 1 dot name, dog 1 dot age, dog 1 dot birth.
That dog of dog 1 new dog.
The line that creates an object is this line. This side of the equal to, this line is all needed to create an object, to create an instance. Okay? This is just a remote control which is controlling this particular object. Okay? So, Abhinav, can you repeat what you just said? What are these dog1.name, dog1.age, dog1. What are these?
Yeah, I was thinking. No, I was thinking that name, age are like objects and birth method.
When did I say that name, age and are objects? Name and age are the properties inside of that object. Just like in a house, when you define a house, you say, I need these many bedrooms, I need these many bathrooms, I need these many swimming pools, I need these many media rooms. Those are just the properties, the attributes. But actual dog objects gets created at this line. Okay, so if you look at the memory diagram at this line, what happens is on when you do this right hand side. So let's look at the memory diagram so it will be very clear. This is your memory of the computer. When you executed the line 1, dog 1 is equals to new of dog. What happens is at this right hand side, this side of the code, what it has done, it has created a dog object for you. That's it. Okay. Now this dog object has what? It has a name, it has an age, and it has a bark method. It has those things. It is not instance. It has those things. Every dog will have these 3 things because these are the things that you have defined it in your class. Okay. So object is an instance of the class. Class is something from which the objects will be created. Class is something from which the object will be created. So since we are creating, this is a dog object. Okay. Now we wrote this line dog d1 is equals to. So right hand side, what it has done, it has created a remote control of name of the remote control is dog1. What this remote control has right now, it has the memory address of this dog. So if this dog is pointed at XX111 location, so this remote control has nothing but this location number where this object is. So this dog1 is pointing to this object right now, the first object. Now what you have said at line number 2 and line number 3, you're setting the name and age of this dog, which is to Tiger and 15. So what you've done here is the name of the dog is Tiger, the age of the dog is 15, and bark method is called. Okay, so this has been done. Next line, the line number 5th, we are printing the name. What is in dog 1? Dog 1 has this thing. Dog 1 has the remote control which is pointing to this dog. So it is asking you to give me the name and the age. So the name would be Tiger and the age is 15 will get printed on the screen. Next line. At line number 7, you are not creating any reference anymore What you're saying, the existing reference, which is this dog D1, now it is pointing to a new dog object. So what it is doing here is, now you have said, now this reference, you have created another object in the memory by writing this line, new of dog. By this line, 7th number 9, this part of the code is telling you create a new object. Now where is the remote control? Now remote control, which was pointing to this old object here, which had the memory location, this one, this particular memory location was there. Now it is pointing to this object. Okay, now this is no more pointing to this one, it is pointing to this object. Okay, so this is the second object. Now what we are doing is, dog1 is equals to new dog, dog1 dot name lion, dog dot age is equals to 13. So here the name, what is the name here? Name of this dog is lion and age of this dog is 13. So you have right now two dogs. How many remote control? I just have one remote control, which is this one. Okay, this is the remote control that I have. So this is the one reference variable I have, and I have two objects right now. Next line says bark method gets printed. Now print the dog1.name and dog1.age. Now what is in dog1.name? Dog1.name, first it was pointing to this, now it is pointing to this. So this will print lion and then it will print 13. Next line. At line number 11, line number 13, see, you're not creating any other reference variable. How? Because if you would have said something like this, then that means that you are creating another reference variable, because you are declaring a dog, you're declaring another reference. You're just using the existing one. That's why now what at line number 13 happened? This part of the code has created another object for you. So we will say another object got created. Now, what is the remote control for this object? Dog1. Now, where is this dog1 is there? Yes, it's already there, which is this one. So now this no longer points to this, points to this one. Okay. So we have three objects right now, and we have only one remote control or reference variable. Here, the name of this dog is Tina, the age is 11. So the name becomes Tina and the age becomes 11. So you have this dog. Okay. And now what you're doing here is you are displaying the value of, let me call this bark method. Okay, name and age. Dog1 dot of name. What is dog1 dot of name? Dog1 dot of name is this one. Dog1 dot of name is this one. So what is this pointing to? This thing. So this becomes Tina and this becomes 11. So this prints Tina and 11. Abhinav and Priyanka, did you get it?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, Abhinav, you got it? Okay. If you got it, don't give me wrong answer next time. Next thing is, let's say I go ahead and change this method a little bit, and right now I'm passing the name of the method and I'm passing the age of the method. Okay. And I'm saying name is equals to n and age is equals to age. Okay. So now what I've done here is I am saying
in line 8 semicolon.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So here I have declared a method bark which takes two parameters. So I told you method can take something. Okay, so it is taking two parameters, n and age. So what we will do, whenever we'll call this method, we will pass two variables to it, or two parameters or two arguments, which will be of type n, string, and another will be of type integer. Now what we are saying here is these are called as the instance variables. Okay, because why these are called as instance variables? Name and age, these are called as the instance variables or called properties. These are called as the instance variable because each of the instance of this class will have its own set of those variables. Okay, see here each of these dog objects has its own copies of the name and age, own copies of the name and age, own copies of the name and age. That's why these are called as the instance variables. Are you guys following? Or I'm going too fast? It's a little different topic than we did yesterday, but I hope you're following me. If you want me to repeat anything, you want me to go slow, let me know. I don't want you to not understand this part because this is the base of the programming. Okay? So these are called as the instance variable. Okay? Okay, so what I've done here is, okay, Abhinav, so far tell me what you have understood. You tell me what you found, and you can tell me in your language. And Ravi, you make sure he's telling me the right thing.
Yes. So we have class here, apex class, and apex class is nothing but blueprint or a layout of a particular program, and
No, layout.
we have
Okay, hold on.
each
Class is nothing but a blueprint which will show you what the objects that you're going to create, what will those objects will have. Okay? So it's not of a program or anything, it's basically the blueprint from which the objects will be created. Okay? Now next thing.
and each object has property.
Abhinav, your voice is kind of disrupted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but there is some disturbance.
Each object has property.
Hmm.
And object stores some memory, and reference ID doesn't store memory, but it has some. When we use something for reference, we grab the information from that.
Yeah, so reference has,
But
let's
doesn't
say,
store any memory.
address of the object. Where the object is in the memory, it will have the address of that memory location. Assume, let's say that.
Yeah, address of it.
Okay, so it knows that which object he is controlling right now. Okay, and those properties are called as instance variables, because see, instance variable means each of the object, if I'm creating off of that class, will have its own set of properties. Okay, this will have its own set of properties. So in this particular one, this name and age is the instance variable, but these and this one is not the instance variable. These are just the local variable which belong to this method. Variables of different type. This is what? This is an instance variable, because every time you create an instance of this dog class, each of those instances will have its own copy. Copy means, let's say there are 4 dog objects. Each of the dog objects will have their different name, will have their own age, etc. Okay, they're not sharing something. They have their own. So these two are the instance variables, but these two variables that you have created, they just belong to this method. Okay, they don't have anything. They are not instance variable. They just belong to this method. The scope of these variables are from this point of line to this point of line. That's it. This is what the scope of these variables are. If you will try to access these variables outside of these curly braces, they will give you an error, because they don't know what n is and what a is. Because these two variables are declared inside of this bark method. Okay, inside of this bark method. So the life of these variables, you can say the life of these variables is starts at here and ends at here, because the method finishes at this line. Okay, but these variables are declared inside this class, so their life ends from here till the whole class. Okay, so in the whole class you will be able to address this name. So now what I'm saying is whatever you are receiving in N, put it into the name, means this name. Whatever you're receiving in A, put it into this age, which is this age. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, let's go ahead and call, let me go ahead and get rid of this. I'm saying dog D1 is equals to new of dog. Now what it has done, it has created a new instance of the dog object. Okay, it has created a new instance, means a new object has been created. Now here you say d1 dot of name, okay, d1 dot of name is equals to tiger. Okay, then you say d1 dot of age is equals to 40. Now you say d1 dot of bark. And now you're passing the name and the age to this one. Okay, you're passing this, the name is Tiger. Don't even do this. Now tell me, what do you think will be the output of this program? This is my dog object creation process, and this was my class called dog. So Abhinav, tell me what's happening.
First will be name of my dog is Tiger, age is 13.
How many objects have been created here? How many objects have been created and how many reference variables are there?
I have 4 objects and 3 reference.
How did you calculate 4 objects?
So one is dog d1 is equal to new dog.
See,
so there is
only this line creates the object. This is just assigning the object to a remote control. You just have to figure out, okay, how many times I've written new of dog? 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time. Okay, 4 objects. Okay. Now how did you calculate the reference variable? How many remote controls?
So d1 and d1 Tiger and d1 fit to have same reference object.
Come again.
d1 bar Tiger 13 and d1 bar fit to 10 have same reference object, right? D1.
Yeah, so they basically, what you're doing here is, first time it was pointing to the other object, now it is pointing to a different object.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you wanted to create the diagram, how will I create? You need to tell me how will I create the reference memory diagram. So step by step, let's go through step by step. Now tell me what happens at D1 is equals to new dog. What should I do on the memory diagram?
So each dog has like name.
No, wait. Go through line number 1 and tell me what will be the output from that line. What will happen at line number 1?
So dog d1 is equal to new dog. So the new dog is an object.
So I'll create an object.
And has the name, age and bark method.
Okay.
And reference number is d1.
What is it? That's not return number. That's
remote name.
Yeah, so what is this D1 will have?
D1 will have Tiger and age 14.
No! D1 will have just the memory address of this, where this...
Yes.
So XXX, let's say, then this will only have XX, whatever the memory. It won't have name, age, it won't have the whole object. It will just have the memory location. Okay. Now tell me what should I do at line number 3?
Line number 3, again it assigns like into and number 10. Again, like number 9, you have the same reference code D1 And
No, you have to, you're jumping to line number 9. I'm saying what happens at line number 3 now, d1 dot of bark at line number 3.
3.
Here, at this place. At this line, d1 dot of bark tiger 13, what is happening right now?
Here, like D1 is the remote address and it's having tiger and 13.
What is this bark thing?
But
So d1 dot of bark, this line will call the bark method. So where is this bark method? Here.
Yeah,
Now, and what is this bark
here.
method is expecting? It is expecting tiger. So the tiger will go here in this variable called n, and it is expecting another variable 13. So that 13 will go in a. Okay. So this method will get called, and the name will be equals to n.
Dog.
Yeah. Keep going. Keep going.
Name of my dog, tiger, and age is 13.
Okay, very good. Now next, very good. Now what happens at line number 4? Tell me the memory diagram.
4.
Yeah, and this is line number 4. This one.
It creates a new object.
Very good. So what should I do on the memory diagram? Create a new object. Okay.
New object and name, age, and bark.
Okay. Right now, what will name, age will have? Something or nothing?
Suno 11.
No, where did that thing happen? Suno 11. That's at line number 5, right?
Yeah.
But you are not finished with line number 4. What else is happening at line number 4 besides creating an object?
It's show me a minute. Dog D2.
So what is that?
It's new remote
So, okay, so now what will this D2 will have?
It stores memory address of object.
Which object? This one or this one?
D2. D2.
D2 is itself is a remote control. So which object? This one or this one?
The green one.
Okay, very good. Okay, now next line.
And it prints the bark method.
Okay, now in the bark method, what does it pass?
Name of the dog is Suno and age is 11.
Okay, now what happens at line number 6?
6 creates new object.
Okay, so I'll go up here and create a new object.
Yeah, creates new object and object have name, age, and bark method. Name is Hina, age is 11.
Okay. Method. Why you always jump to line number 7 right away? I'm just asking what happens at line number 6. Right now, name, age, and bark is nothing. The thing happening at the next line. So what happens more at this line? At line number 6.
It assigns new reference number D3.
Okay, now what D3 will have?
D3 will have the reference, address of D3. New one.
Okay, of this object.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing.
And and prints the bark method.
Okay.
Bark method is name of the dog is Hina, age is 11.
Okay, what happens at line number 8?
It happens like the object, new object creates here new object with window and 10. It has the same reference number of D1.
No. So what should I do here at line number 8? Should I create this to something or should I add a new object? What should I do?
No. There will be new object, but reference number will be D1.
So what about this this line will not be there anymore? So you want me to create a new object, right?
Yeah.
And then what should I do with D1?
D1 has D1 will assign this reference number to this new one.
Okay, so what about this orange one address? Who will have this orange address now?
Nothing, like, because it has a bit, it will update that information.
Okay, very good. So now what happening is D1 is no more pointing to this one. It is only pointing
No
to
more.
this thing. Okay, so this is called
Yeah.
as,
Yeah.
this is pointing to null now. So there is no remote control for this object. So that this is also called as eligible for garbage collection. There is something called as garbage collection, but I don't think so they have it in here. So just forget about it. So this particular object does not have any remote control to handle this one. But each of them have their own remote control, but this object does not have any reference variable. Okay. Now, so what will be the output of the program? It will just, you have created 4 objects, but you only have 3 reference variable. Now if I go ahead and execute the program, the output of the program would be whatever you guys said. Where did it go? Oh, I didn't save it. Name of the dog Tiger, Suno, Hina, Quinto, age is 11. Okay? Guys, tell me if I don't do something like this. Okay, now what do you think will be the output? If I just say without even doing anything, let's just leave it like that. Now if I go ahead and do something like dog D1 is equals to new of dog. Now before doing that, okay, dog D1 is equals to new of dog, okay, and I say D1 dot of name is equals to tiger and D1 dot of age is equals to 13, and then I say system dot of debug name of the dog and age plus name, give some space here, and then plus age. Okay, so now here if I go ahead and make this one instead of public, I make it private, what will happen now? Now if you try to go ahead and execute this line of code, what you did, the class is public, the variables that are defined, the instance variables, you turned them to private. These are called as access modifiers. If I go ahead and execute, you will say variable does not exist. Name, because it right away stopped at this thing. That's why I didn't even go to the next line. It right away stopped here. What we did here is we saying private. Private means the variable is not available outside of the scope. The variable is not available outside of the scope of this whole class. Means this, no one knows about this variable outside of this class. Okay, that's why when we were trying to access this name, they complained because why? Because this variable is private. Okay, this variable is private and you're trying to access that variable outside of this class. That's why it gave you an error. Okay, now there is a rule. Then how will I do that? Now let's say, what is the point of doing this? What is the point of making the instance variables private? Okay, I'll show you. Then how will, if I made these variables private, how will I access those variables? How will I set the value of the name and set the value of age? You can do that by creating a method again, public void set name. Okay, this is the method which takes in one parameter. Okay, and what does it do with that parameter? It sets the name of that parameter with whatever it received. Okay, and if you want to receive what is the value of this parameter, similarly if you want to set the name age of the dog, you create another method which will call set age. It will take into one parameter, integer a, and what this is doing, this is setting the value of the age with what you received in the parameter. Okay, now here what you can do is, now if you call d1 dot of name, okay, and instead of d1 dot of name you call it as d1 dot of set name and you pass in Fredo. And then age, you instead of this you call a method called setAge. This is the name of the method, and you pass in 12 here. Now tell me what will be the, let me show you. Then how will I get the d1 dot of name and d1 dot of age? So then I will create another method, and this method, what does it return? It returns me a string variable. What does it do? Get name. Okay, and it returns me name. Okay, let me know guys if you're not following what I'm trying to do here. Public integer get of age, and this returns me age. Now what I have done here is, let me go line by line. I have created a set method. Okay, this is a method. The name of the method is set name. This is the method, takes one parameter, name. Okay, and then what does it do? It sets this name to whatever it has received. Okay, and then the same you have for set age also. So what you're doing here, you have created a method. The return type of the method means it will return you of something. The return type of the method is void, means it's not returning anything, and then it takes in one parameter of type age, of type integer. Okay, and what you is doing, whatever it received, it sets into this age instance variable. Next thing is get name and get age. Now what this get name is doing, whatever you are setting up in the name, it is returning you back. Whatever you're setting up in the age, it is returning you back. Okay, this is what it is doing. So now if I go back and I call this method d1 dot of set name, and you call it as Fredo, and then you call another one d1 dot of set age, and you call it as 12, and here you call d1 dot of get age and d1 dot of get name. So what's going to happen now? What will be the output of this program? Ravi, are you following? Were you familiar with these concepts before? It's kind of repetition for you? Okay, you're not enjoying that repetition? Okay, so tell me what's going on here. Abhinav, what's going to be the output of the program, and Ravi, what's going to be the output of the program?
Yeah, Deepika, I didn't understand this method.
Okay, so what you have done is
What happened? What happens if there is private here?
Huh?
With private string name, right? Before it was like public string name, right? Public string name and public integer.
Huh?
Now you have changed it to private, right? So what has happened here?
So what happened was, if I was trying to access the name and the age directly outside of the class, it gave me the error. Remember, if I go ahead and do something like this, d1 dot of name is equals to Fredo, okay, or whatever, and then d1 dot of age, if I was trying to access that, then it gave me the error because
Variable does
yeah, because it's not, because you're trying to access something which is outside of the scope of that. Okay, Now how will you then if you have these variables as private, then if you make these variables as private, then how will you set those, how will you set the value of name? How will I set my name of the dog? How will I set my age of the dog? So what I did is I created a public method. Okay, I created a method which can be accessed from outside because it is of public type. Okay, and here this why you need to have a public method, guys, and private variables. Can you think of a possibility of something like this? If I have created a private variable, can I do, somebody can come and set my age to 0. Do you want your dog to have an age of 0? You don't want, you want to prevent it, right? You don't want somebody to set a wrong value. But here you can directly ask some, right now, if for someone, if these variables are public, okay, if these variables are public, anyone would be able to access them and anyone can set the age of my dog to -10. This is not a valid, this doesn't make sense, right? You want to prevent these kind of scenario. You don't want somebody to screw your code. You don't want somebody to just go ahead and change whatever the value. You want to protect it. So now what you can do is, because you have, instead of these private variables, what you have to control, you to set those variables, you have created methods around it. These are called as setters and getters method. Okay, now to control, so these are the setters and the getters method. So what these methods do, in this, inside of this method, if somebody is trying to set a wrong value, okay, if my n is let's say here, if you're somebody is trying to set a wrong age, you can control it. You can say if a is less than or equals to 0, you can send him a message saying, hey, you're not, stop that. Okay, you can send, this is why it's important to make sure that those some wrong people does not set up some wrong values. Okay, and here you can have your own value if somebody tries to do that. Else you can let them do whatever they want. Else you can set the age. If they are sending, if they are giving you some right value, you can allow them, because you have the method, you have method, and you can control what goes into the variable through that method. But if you have made every variable as public, then anyone will be able to set whatever the hell they want. But if you have, if instead of you make your variables private and then you have access to those variables through a method, then in the method you can control what goes into the variable. Does that make sense, Priyanka? No, methods are not always public, but there is a, if, but you can understand from here that why you should go for methods as public and variables as private. Why is it good to have this scenario? Okay, did you understand, Ravi, that why you need these methods to be public and variables to be private? Because you can control what goes into the variables. Abhinav, now tell me, what was your question?
Yeah, I got the answer.
You got the answer? Okay. Because see, you want not everyone to set whatever the hell they want. You have to control that. To control it, if you make them private, you will restricting them that, okay, you can't set my variables value directly. You have to go through my methods to set those values. So that's why these are called as getters and setters. Getter means to retrieve back the value. Setter means to set the value of that variable. Okay. So this is what we have. Now there is a very simple, instead of what they did is they introduced the operator called this. Instead of saying string name, you can also say something like this. Arvind, can you mute yourself? This dot of name is equals to name. This is a this variable. Okay. Now can you tell me what is the meaning of this? And if I change this to age, Abhinav, what is this operator? What is this for? Abhinav, can you tell me what is the purpose of this?
If age, right? You're asking about
This one.
this? Okay.
Do you remember? Okay, that's fine. So guys, did you got the difference between local and the instance variables? Now, how many local variables are there in this code? And what are the names of those local variables? What did I tell you about local variable? Local variable is a variable which is declared inside a particular method. So how many local variables are there? In the whole class, okay, how many variable, okay, this set name, set age, all together, how many local variables are there in this whole class? What are the name of those variables? Yeah. So these are the methods, set name and set age. The local variables are name and local variable are age, right? Right, Priyanka? And how many instance variables are there? How many instance variables? Ravi, instance variables. There are two, right? Name and age again. So then, isn't it confusing that, okay, the name of the local variable is also name and age, and the name of the instance variables are also name and age. So what is happening at this line? At this line, this name means this, you're talking, this part of the code is referring to this name, okay, wait a minute. This name refers to this local variable, and to avoid the confusion, this name refers to this one. Okay, so this is an operator which refers to the current object. Okay, so this dot name, if you're using this dot name, means you're talking about the instance variable name. When you're talking about without this operator, you're talking about this local variable. Similarly here, this dot age, basically you're saying, here if I do that, this dot age becomes. So this dot age means I'm talking about the age of that age which is an instance variable, and age means without this operator is this age. Okay, so this is like a pattern that they follow when you're creating a getters and setters. This is like they use set and then the name with the capital N and then set age with the A as a capital. So this is the naming convention they follow, and this is the local variable. This is the to point to the instance variable. You use this operator. Did you get it? Abhinav? Abhinav, any questions?
I'm just trying to understand, a little bit confusing, but
Okay, tell me what is the
first
confusion?
string name is we have string name and integer age.
Yeah, see,
These two are variables, right?
these two are variables and these two are also variables, but they're different types of variables. See, this string name,
Type of
it is,
variable, yeah.
yeah, so they're different categories, okay? So this particular name, this one, which is declared inside this method, you can assume that this is a part of this method. So the scope of them, the age of them is from this line to this line, because the method starts from here, ends at here. So this variable name is local to this method. Are you getting my point? Once you are outside of this method,
So
no one knows about this method anymore. Similarly,
so if I give the name,
yeah, go ahead.
if I give here D1 name is equal to pro.
Okay, if you say What are you saying, Abhinav?
It's the bottom of this. Bottom.
Oh yeah, sorry. So what is it?
So if here D1 name here, we have D1 is equal to D1 name is D1 dot name is equal to flow. So what does happens in the method? What happens in the method?
See, method is not even getting called here. Method gets called when you call the method by the name. Method is getting called at this line. At this line, nothing is happening. This line, what is happening is you are changing the value of the name of the D1 dot of name to fro. Means basically what you're doing here is you go back to the class and this name becomes this fro. Okay, but if you make it as private, then you are not able to call this line. Because this is a private access modifier and you're trying to access name outside. Abhinav, Ravi, can you help him one more time, please?
Abhinav.
Yeah, Ravi.
ఓకే జనరల్గా పబ్లిక్ అంటే ఏంటంటే అది ఎక్కడైనా యూజ్ చేయొచ్చు.
అది అర్థమైంది, పబ్లిక్ ప్రైవేట్ అర్థమైంది. కాకపోతే క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ నేమ్ ఇక్కడ దిస్ డాట్ నేమ్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు నేమ్ అని పెట్టింది కదా, అక్కడ ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తుంది అక్కడ లైన్ ఒకటి నాకు అర్థం కావట్లేదు.
అలా అది ఏం లేదు, దిస్ డాట్ ఇప్పుడు నేమ్ రెండు నేమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, ఒకటి జనరల్ గా ప్రైవేట్ స్ట్రింగ్ నేమ్ అని ఒకటి డిక్లేర్ చేసింది కదా వేరియబుల్. సో ఒక నేమ్ ఉంది, దాని తర్వాత పబ్లిక్ వాయిడ్ సెట్ నేమ్ స్ట్రింగ్ నేమ్ ఇంకొక నేమ్ ఉంది చూడిరా, రెండు నేమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఫైన్, అంటే రెండు వేరియబుల్స్ ఉన్నాయి. కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉండదా? కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉంటది కదా. సో అప్పుడు ఏంటి అంటే దిస్ డాట్ నేమ్ అంటే ఈ నేమ్ స్ట్రింగ్ నేమ్, యా అది దీనికి అసైన్ అయినట్టు, లైక్ ఇట్స్ ఈక్వల్ టు అసైన్ అవుతుంది. అర్థమైందా నీకు? అంటే సెట్ నేమ్ అది ఉంది కదా, సెట్ నేమ్ లో ఉన్న వేరియబుల్స్ నేమ్ ఉంది కదా, దాంట్లో ఏమున్నా ఆ ప్రైవేట్ దానిలోకి వెళ్తుంది. అర్థమైందా?
సో సెట్ నేమ్ ఏది ఇచ్చినా కానీ ఆ స్ట్రింగ్ నేమ్ ఏది ఇచ్చినా కానీ రెండిట్లో ఇచ్చినా కానీ ఈక్వల్ అవుతాయి.
అర్థం
Set name
కాలేదు.
is a method.
సెట్ నేమ్ ప్రైవేట్ స్ట్రింగ్ నేమ్ ఉంది, పబ్లిక్ స్ట్రింగ్ నేమ్ ఉంది, రెండు డిఫరెంట్ నేమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. సో దిస్ డాట్ నేమ్ ఇస్ నేమ్ అంటే అవి రెండు ఇది సెట్ స్ట్రింగ్ నేమ్ ప్రైవేట్ స్ట్రింగ్ నేమ్ ఇచ్చినా కానీ పబ్లిక్ స్ట్రింగ్ ఇచ్చినా కానీ సేమ్ అవుతాయి.
No, you need to get rid of this. Now tell them what's happening. So Abhinav, this set name.
As far as I understood.
Go on.
Yeah, as far as I understood, private. You have two names here. One is private name. One is public name.
Where is public name? There is no public name.
Public in the sense method. In method we have one more variable. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So method is public. This variable is a local variable. You can't use public private with this local variable. You can only use public private with instance variables. So this is a method. Okay. This is a method which has public, means you can call this method from outside. Okay, that's what public is telling you. But this variable which is present inside this method, this one, you're declaring a variable inside of this method. This is a local variable whose name is this name. Similarly, you have a method called setAge, which is a public method. Means you can call this method from outside. This is what we did. We were able to call this method from outside the class. This also has a variable declared inside of it. It is not public variable. Public is the method. Variable is still local because you are declaring this method, declaring this variable inside this method. So this also becomes a local variable, because what is the age of this method? Age method means this method started at this curly brace and it ends at this curly brace. That's only the life of this whole variable, because this variable is defined inside this method and the method starts from here and ends at this line. So that is what the scope of the variable is, or you can call it as the life of the variable is. Did you get it?
Yes.
What did you understand, Abhinav? Tell us.
So if after I may understand after seeing the output also.
Okay.
Because I'm still confused.
What happens at line number 3? At line number 3, this line calls this method, which is set name method inside of this dog. This is what gets called at line number 3. So what we are doing, we are passing Fredo to this name. So this name means whatever Fredo, this name is passed to this particular name. See, this dot name is referring to this name, and with the right one name refers to this name, the local variable. See, there are duplicates. You can think like in the movies we have duplicates. They're the same two variables, but both of them have the same name. Okay, to avoid the confusion, to tell which name are we talking about, we are using this. Anything which uses this means we are talking about the instance variable, and without the this means we are talking about the local variable. So now in this part at line number 3, this set name method gets called. At line number 4, the set age method gets called, which is this one, and you are passing 12 to this. So what is the value of age here? Age is 12. Now we don't worry. So this 12, right? So if 12 is less than equals to 0, if this is the case, then what we want that if this is less, so then this part of the code will run. If it is greater than 0, then this part of the code will run. So what we are doing here is this dot age means we are not talking about this age. We are not talking about this. We are talking about this age, the one which is the instance variable one. We are setting the value of this from what we got from this 12. So 12 goes to that instance variable age. And what we are doing in the method, and in the get age, and this is what this get age is doing. Get age is basically we are calling this method get age. Okay, now what is it returns? It returns you age. Now which age it is returning you? See, this age is no more existing because that method has already, that age is not existing anymore. This age, now what is in this age? 12, right? So 12 will be returned. So 12 will get displayed. D1 dot of get name means we are calling this particular get name method. Now what is we are returning here? We are returning name. Which name? We are returning this name because this name is only defined inside of this method, which is only like when you call this method, this name is existing. But once it is outside, then you don't know about this name. So this name will get called, the one which is up here in this. Did you get it?
Yeah.
So now tell me what you think will be the output of this program.
Name of the dog.
What will be that?
Name of the dog and age.
Yeah. What else?
Fredo 12.
Exactly. Fredo and 12, because that's what it happened. Name of the dog and age 12 Fredo, because we called the Fredo before. We call the age before and then the name we called. So the age will get printed first and the name will get printed later. Got it? Now if I go back here and I say now tell me what's going to be the output.
So the age is -10, right?
Most worst problem that you can do with programming is just looking at the code and trying to figure out. You need to go step by step by step. Then only you'll figure out the right answer. Age is -10. Yeah, you're trying to put something -10 in the set age method. Go from top to bottom. Don't jump to the system.debug line. Try to draw the memory diagram. That will help you a lot.
So new dog is an object and T1 is the reference. So it has name and age. Age is 12.
How did that happen? What happens at line number 3? What is this set name? What will get called when you do set name? Tell me.
Private string name.
Ravi.
No.
Pranka, look at the method. Pranka, you're doing a mistake. Look at the method.
Ravi.
ఓకే అభినవ్ చూడు ఫస్ట్ లైన్ లో అనేది ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ని క్రియేట్ చేస్తుంది ఓకే కొత్త ఆబ్జెక్ట్ దానికి రిమోట్ అనేది
కాదు నాకు ఈ లైన్ ప్రజెంట్ కోడ్ ఉంది కదా ఈ కోడ్ మెథడ్ లో అర్థం కావట్లా మెథడ్
ఓకే థర్డ్ లైన్ ఏందో తెలుసా
సెట్ నేమ్ D1 త్రూ ఆ డాగ్ నేమ్ వచ్చేసి పిడో
ఒక్క నిమిషం ఆగు
This method will get called. You need to remember this method will get called. Not this statement. This method will get called because see let's say if I change this method name, if I say set hero. Now tell me what's going to happen. So this method is getting called, not this name thing. This method is getting called.
వినా ఆ థర్డ్ లైన్ లో సెట్ హీరో అనేది ఒక మెథడ్ ఉంది కదా మనకి వెనకాల దీంట్లో ఆ మెథడ్ పిలుస్తుంది పిలిచిన తర్వాత ఇక్కడ ఫ్రీడో అని రాసాం కదా స్ట్రింగ్ కదా అది ఫ్రీడో సో దాన్ని ఏం చేస్తుంది అది ఆ నేమ్ లో పెడుతుంది ఓకే
ఓకే ఇక్కడ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ లో స్క్రీన్ నేమ్ అనేది ఒక జస్ట్ నేమ్ అంటే అది ఏది కాదు జస్ట్ లైక్ ఇక్కడ ఇప్పుడు సెట్ D1.setHero ఫ్రీడో ఉంది కదా ఆ స్క్రీన్ నేమ్ అంతే కదా
D1 అనే డాగ్ అనే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ రెఫరెన్స్ ఓకే ఫస్ట్ ఏం చేసింది చెప్తాను D1 అనేది రెఫరెన్స్ తీసుకుంది ఆ డాగ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ మనం కొత్త క్రియేట్ చేసింది పాయింట్అవుట్ చేసింది ఫైన్ తర్వాత అది సెట్ హీరో ఆ మెథడ్ వరకు వెళ్ళింది ఆ మెథడ్ అంటే ఏది వెనకాల పబ్లిక్ వాయిడ్ సెట్ హీరో అని ఉంది కదా ఆ మెథడ్కి వెళ్ళింది ఆ మెథడ్కి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత ఫ్రీడో అనేది స్ట్రింగ్ సో ఏం చేసింది ఆ మెథడ్కి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత ఫ్రీడో అనేది నేమ్ లోకి సెట్ చేసింది ఓకే నేమ్ అని ఉందా
సో ఇక్కడ మెథడ్ లో 7th లైన్ ఉంది కదా
7th లైన్
ఇక్కడ దిస్ నేమ్ ఈక్వల్ టు నేమ్ కదా సో ఇందులో ఒక నేమ్ వచ్చేసి ఫ్రీడో
ఏంటి
దిస్ డాట్ నేమ్ ఈక్వల్ టు నేమ్ లో రైట్ సైడ్ ఉంది ఫ్రీడో కదా
ఒక్క నిమిషం నువ్వు 7th లైన్ ఓకే వెనకాల 7th లైన్ లోనా దిస్ డాట్ నేమ్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు నేమ్ అని ఉంది కదా ఈ రైట్ సైడ్ నేమ్ అని లోకల్ వేరియబుల్ అది ఈ పబ్లిక్ వాయిడ్ సెట్ హీరో స్ట్రింగ్ నేమ్ ఉంది కదా ఆ నేమ్ వచ్చేసి రైట్ సైడ్ నేమ్ ఓకే ఇప్పుడు ఆ నేమ్ లో ఏముంది వి హ్యావ్ ఫ్రీడో అనేది ఆ నేమ్ లో ఇప్పుడు ఉంది ఓకే సో కింద దిస్ డాట్ నేమ్ ఇస్ ఈక్వల్ టు ఫ్రీడో లైక్ ఓకే ఆ నేమ్ లో ఫ్రీడో ఉంది ఫ్రీడో ఇప్పుడు ఈక్వల్ టు అంటే అసైన్మెంట్ అంటే రైట్ సైడ్ ఏమున్నా లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ కి అలా తోస్తుంది అంటే రైట్ సైడ్ నేమ్ లో ఫ్రీడో ఉంది కాబట్టి ఇప్పుడు లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ నేమ్ లో కూడా ఫ్రీడో వస్తుంది లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ నేమ్ ఏంది ప్రైవేట్ వేరియబుల్ ఒకటి పైన దాంట్లో తోసింది సో దాట్ థర్డ్ లైన్ లో అది అయింది అర్థమైందా?
యా అంటే ఇక్కడ ఫస్ట్ ఇక్కడ వచ్చేది పబ్లిక్ నేమ్ అంతే కదా.
ఫస్ట్ వచ్చేది పబ్లిక్ నేమ్, ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ ఆ మెథడ్ ని కాల్ చేసింది కదా, ఆ మెథడ్ కాల్ చేసినప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ మెథడ్ లోకి వస్తుంది. మెథడ్ లోకి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత ఆ ఫ్రీడో అనే ఆ నేమ్ లోకి సెట్ చేస్తుంది. ఆ నేమ్ ఏంటి లోపల పెట్టి, అర్థమైందా? తర్వాత మెథడ్ లోపల ఏముంది, ఆ కర్ల్ బ్రేసెస్ లోపల ఏదో రాశారు కదా, దిస్ డాట్ నేమ్ ఈక్వల్ టు నేమ్ అనేసి, అది నెక్స్ట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయ్యేది, అంటే మెథడ్ లోపలికి వెళ్తుంది. ఇప్పుడు రైట్ సైడ్ నేమ్ అనే దాంట్లో ఫ్రీడో ఉంది కాబట్టి లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ దాంట్లో కూడా ఫ్రీడో వచ్చేస్తుంది. అర్థమైందా?
అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి ట్రై చేస్తాను. ఒకసారి నాకు ఇది ఎఫెక్ట్స్ కోడ్ ని కొంచెం క్లియర్ చెప్పవా?